All right, welcome everyone. It is 5:31, so we're going to go ahead and get this meeting started. So 1.1 call meeting to order. 1.2 pledge of allegiance. And let's see, do we have somebody? Yes, so Stephanie Cecilia Garcia, 12th grader at San Bernardino High School, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So welcome, Stephanie. Her plans after graduation in 2027 is to attend UC Irvine with a focus on aerospace engineering and a minor in robotics. She hopes to someday work for NASA and then apply for the astronaut program. Welcome, Stephanie, and thank you for leading us.
Please stand for the pledge. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Awesome. Let's give Stephanie another round of applause. Congratulations, Stephanie. And thank you again for leading us in the pledge. 1.3 approval of the agenda.
Move.
Moved by Dr. Wyatt, second by Mr. Tillman. Vote, please. And do we have any items to pull? No, right? All right. Thanks for that. All right, motion carries. 2.0 student board members swearing in. And the elected student board members for the 26-27 school year will be sworn in. And I will go ahead and pass it over to Dr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, President Ceballos. We are so excited to have and highlight the wonderful students that we have at San Bernardino City Unified School District. Our district is one of the few in California that has a student board member program. Some programs only have one, and we have 7. And so we're very excited that they're here. So at this time, I'm going to have all of our student board members, our returning student board members, as well as our brand new ones come forward. And if you could come down, President Ceballos, to read the oath of office.
All right. So I'm going to start. I'm going to say I do solemnly swear. But when you repeat that part, you're going to say I, and then I'm going to go down the aisle, and then you say your name, and then repeat the rest. Okay? Ready? Okay. I,
Arami Martinez Sosa,
I, Damian Delgado,
and put your right hand up. Sorry.
I, Genesis Maldonado.
I, Alicia Rourke,
I, Salem Rios.
I, Oluwatemilon Pafet Akinyemi,
I, Valeria Cervantes.
Awesome. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Awesome. Give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. Welcome. All right. Again, congratulations and welcome. So we're going to go ahead and move on now to 3.0 public comments. 3.1 receive public comments.
There are none.
Oh, okay. 4.0, I guess everybody's on vacation. 4.0 reports and comments by union organizations. 4.1 San Bernardino Teachers Association.
No report.
4.2 California School Employees Association.
No report.
4.3 Communication Workers of America.
No report.
And then 4.4 San Bernardino School Police Officers Association.
No report.
Some 5.0 public hearings. 5.1 acceptance and adoption of the MOU effects of abolishments and decrees between the San Bernardino City Unified School District and California School Employees Association, Chapter 183. A public hearing will be held to consider the adoption of the Memorandum of Understanding between the California School Employees Association, CSEA Chapter 183, and the San Bernardino City Unified School District. On May 28, 2026, the district and CSEA agreed to the Memorandum of Understanding for effects of abolishments and decreases of CSEA's classified bargaining unit positions. On June 18, 2026, CSEA ratified the proposed Memorandum of Understanding to the collective bargaining agreement. It is appropriate at this time to conduct a public hearing. The public hearing is now open. Are there any public comments?
There are none.
Can I get a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tillman, second by Mrs. Alexander. Vote, please.
Ms. Ceballos?
Thank you. Motion carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts and adopts the Memorandum of Understanding, effects of abolishment and increases between the San Bernardino City Unified School District and California School Employees Association, Chapter 183. This public hearing is now closed. 6.0 closed session, 5.1 closed session public comments. Do you have any?
No, we do not.
Okay, so then at this time, we will adjourn to closed session. We will be right back. Yes, we do. Thank you for that reminder. So if the board can come down so that we can take a picture with our student board members before going to closed session. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. 7.0 action reported from closed session. There is none. 8.0 administrative reports and presentations. 8.1 child development program presentation. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Rodriguez.
Thank you so very much. There are so many programs in this district, and this is probably one of my favorites. And actually, the bookends are here today. When we start our youngest scholars to some of our more seasoned scholars. And we're very, how should I say, privileged that we have a school district that serves all ages of this community. And it's just exciting to be able to see the highlights and the things that they do in our child development programs as well as in our adult school. So today we have two of our administrators, Dr. Latasha Kelly and Nancy Carrillo, who will be presenting our program updates. You will see that we are very data-driven and we are committed to supporting the district in increasing academic achievement in our testing grades. And we believe that when they get a great foundation in our preschools, they're going to soar and shine very bright when they go to their K-12 program. So with that being said, I'd like to pass it over to Dr. Latasha Kelly.
Good evening, Board and Cabinet.
There's a little button. Yeah. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So good evening, Board and Cabinet. My name is Latasha Kelly, Director for the Child Development Program, and presenting with me is Nancy Carrillo, our Child Development Coordinator. And tonight we are going to give you updates on attendance, enrollment, academics, and our VAPA and events we have throughout the year. So from the first day of school to the last, consistent attendance is very important for academic growth, developmental success, and kindergarten readiness. So last year when we presented, we weren't able to give you our final data, so I thought we would give you our 2024 data as well as our current data. So for 24-25, in May 2025, our enrollment was 1,490 at the end of the school year. So for last school year, we were down 69 students. We had 1,421. Now this school year, we are going to be having 2 enrollment fairs in collaboration with Enrollment and Placement this Saturday and next Saturday so we can get our enrollment up. Okay, so I know there's a lot of information here, so I'm going to try to break it down. Our data shows the percentage of children.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
On your, this is for the preschool program?
Yes. Our child development program, birth to 5.
Right, and I thought it was like a waiting list for that, no?
We do have a waiting list. Per state, we have to have a waiting list before we choose students that we're enrolling.
But I mean, I thought there were like parents who never get in.
So when they're,
I'm just trying to figure out how the numbers go down.
sure. So on the waiting list currently, it is going down. However, because school starts August 3rd, they're starting to go up on the wait list. So we were able by the end of the school year to get that number up. However, we were down last school year because we did have drops. So a lot of times when we, have students, they drop because they're moving out of state, or if their parents just don't want them in the program because they have family members who want to take care of their children. So there's, different occurrences that happen, and then our enrollment goes down.
When somebody drops,
Mhm.
do we contact the people who wanted to be in the program and let them come in?
Yes, we do. And at times, we don't have the school they want. So say, for instance, our brand new site, Francis Grice, we won't have space there, and that's the school they wanted, and they don't want to go to another school. And we offer them another school and say, well, when there is availability, we can transfer you to the new school. But a lot of times they don't want that, and they want to stay on the wait list. So we have a lot.
So that's what I
stay.
wanted to just highlight, because there are slots available, but they may not be at those particular school sites that they want to attend. So some are more popular than others. Some programs at some sites have the infants all the way up to toddlers. Some just have the preschool. So there's lots of factors as far as the waiting list, but we do have spaces, but they may not be at the particular site that that parent wants.
What are the minimum requirements to qualify? Do they have to live in the district? Do they have to?
No, they have to be working, going to school, or looking for employment.
But their income has nothing to do with it.
Their income and their family size, they
It
do,
does have
but
something-
yes, but
Oh.
a lot of our parents, they qualify.
Okay. What's the cutoff for income?
So off the top of my head, a family of 3 can make up to $7,000 to qualify
A month?
a month.
Okay. Okay.
And those are new rates for 26, 27.
And a family of 1?
Oh, they would definitely qualify. I want to
mean-
say probably 6,000.
Okay.
Yeah. I can send you the roster. Of
Yeah, because every
the
year I
state.
get someone telling me they try to get in, they couldn't get in.
Mhm.
So I'd appreciate it.
Oh, definitely.
Thank you.
So, just to give you a little background on what this means, our data shows the percentage of children at or above the California Learning Foundation's expectations. So, the California Learning Foundations are the state's expectations for what young children should know and be able to do before entering kindergarten. So, it serves as a roadmap for teachers, ensuring children receive high quality learning experiences that promote language, literacy, mathematics, social and emotional learning, physical development, and just essential skills that they need for school. Now, we're looking at 24, oh, I'm sorry, I'm still on that. Sorry. So 24-25 school year. As you see, our infant and toddler language and literacy increased by 10%. The baseline was 45% in the fall to 55% in the spring, which was the end of the school year. And mathematics, however, decreased by 5%. We were 65% in the fall and 60% in the spring. Now, looking same year at the preschool data, language and literacy increased by 9%. The baseline was 61% in the fall to 70% in the spring, which was the end of the school year. And mathematics increased by 14%, 54% in the fall and 68% in the spring. Now for our current, next slide, please. Our current data, our infants and toddlers made impressive gains throughout the school year, with language and literacy development increasing by 18%, from 52% in the fall to 70% in the spring, while cognition, math, and science increased by 9%, from 66% in the fall to 75% in the spring. Now for our preschool, language and literacy development increased by 15%, 46% in the fall to 61% in the spring, which was the end of the school year, while mathematics increased by 18%, from 36% in the fall to 54% in the spring. So we're very, very proud of what the teachers accomplished. And I do want to recognize our teachers and thank them, because our teachers, instructional aides, recreational aides, their dedication and commitment helps us to bring these numbers up every year. So, any questions before we move on?
Mrs. Alexander?
Thank you so far for your presentation. Just a question about the math. So
Math.
what's being implemented from an intervention standpoint to improve our scores there?
So to improve the scores, we do have professional development training for teachers and the aides as well. And so we have different vendors come out and kind of just go over different strategies that teachers can use, in their classroom for children that will help those scores go up, which has truly helped. Our curriculum is called Frog Street, and they also have professional development, and they're one of our vendors that we use.
Mr. Tillman?
What is our total capacity for both of these groups?
For our infants, total capacity can go up to 210 children. And for our preschool, we can go up to 1,600.
Okay.
1,600 for preschool.
And do you know off the top of your head, what's the most we had in the 210 number?
Probably 198, close to 200.
And then
Infant toddler is never hard to enroll.
on the one where the 16,
Full.
the one with the 1,600?
What was the highest we've ever had?
Yeah.
1,500.
And do we advertise to the schools, to the students and the parents in the schools in that area where you have the facility?
Yes, we have. And we've also sent mailers out. And well, last last school year, the beginning of the last school year, we sent mailers out as well to everyone in San Bernardino City.
I just think it'd be a good idea to make sure that the parents
Mhm.
of the students in those areas get a flyer. You know, when I was in school years ago, the only way of communication, they pin something to you. And you
True.
go home, your mama take the pen off and she would read it. But you knew for sure that she was going to see that message. I
That's
just
a
hope
good
we do
idea.
something where we're really separating it from the big package and letting parents know this is something that's available for free and they can use in their
Right.
area.
Right. That's a great idea, and we will be doing that. We are going to do that. And also parent guides, I was just reminded. We also have parent guides. And you know what? I'll send a parent guide to each of you all. We have different magazines for our infants, toddlers, preschoolers on developmental milestones, as well as social and emotional. We have 3 magazines, so we'll send you some of those, which have helped parents tremendously as well. It does cover language and literacy, math, social and emotional skills. Yes, and we're going to have different parent guides. We haven't put it together yet, but we're going to have, well, yeah. So, so we're going to have parent guides. We kind of started it this summer. So our part day program, how should I say it? Our full day program, they're there throughout the summer. So they're still learning. Even though it's fun, summertime fun, they're still learning. And our part day children, they don't get that because they're still at home. So what we did is put together some parent guides, sent them home so their parents can work with their child, during the summer. So we're going to refine that and make it better so that we can get those numbers up as well, because the parents can work with the children at home since they're not in school like the full day children. So that's going to help a lot too when we start that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a very quick question.
Sure.
If I may, at this point as well. So just on the capacity for the question that Mr. Tillman asked, and you briefly mentioned, there's half day and there's full day. So out of the capacity, the 210 and the 1600, what amount of that is full versus half?
So we have mostly half day, but we do have preschool full day, preschool part day, and then our infant toddlers are all full day.
So the 210 number would be more
Infant
of the-
toddlers.
So that's the
full day. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then also, I'm assuming that we have staff or employees that also have children in this program. It's not just for the community
Correct.
and the residents, in the area. Would you happen to have data to provide to the board? And it doesn't have to be right now, maybe in a Friday update, to kind of desegregate some of that data to
Definitely.
show, how many students that are attending are, children that live in the area versus like staff or employee children, just to see the ratios.
Okay. Thank you.
And then if we have staff that are also residents of the area, like if, they would fall in both categories, right?
Okay.
But if you can also mention, maybe separate in the staff category, staff
Right.
that are also residents versus non-residents that have children.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I move on? Okay, so now I'm gonna have Nancy Carrillo finish up.
Good evening, board. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. So I get to talk about all the fun stuff that's going on. Academics, extremely important, right? But the kids, we are dealing with children birth to 5. They need some fun activities. They need some things that help socially, emotionally, help them develop. So what we're doing this year, and we've done for the last 2 years, is we have a VAPA program. Our VAPA program consists of teaching our children folklorico, norteño dancing, ballet, hip hop, theater, art classes. So this year we had 96 in the fall and 81 students in the spring. That is for the 24-25 school year, excuse me. For the 25-26 school year, we had 106 students enroll and then 98. Each of those classrooms are taught by our staff, and they are throughout the entire district. So we might have a class at Davidson, we might have a class at Alessandro, we might have a class at Highland Pacific, and we try to range those times for those classes so that parents can come after work. So they're usually anywhere from 4 o'clock to ending at 6 o'clock, 6:30. So it might be 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 5:30 to 6:30, so that parents can bring their children to these free classes. Everything is free. As you see these amazing photos here, and I have some on the next slide, all those costumes are bought for those children free. So they get the classes, they get the environment, they get the instructors, they get the costumes, everything free of charge through our VAPA grant. And again, here you have some more amazing pictures of our students. This year, we were able to use the Packham outdoor facilities, which was amazing, absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, it didn't hold all our parents, but the venue was beautiful nonetheless. Parents had a great time. We really just packed this whole parking lot. We had a lot of good response from parents. And again, the kids are the star of the show. They learned, like I said, ballet. You have tap right here. You have 50s dancing. You have folklorico, and then our art. We had it in the Packham front lobby, which we left up for a couple weeks. As parents came in, they were able to see the highlights of our students and all the activities that they've created. Not only that, but we have a trunk or treat every year. I believe we've had it now for the last 5 years. This trunk or treat brings community into our program. We've probably had about 1,000 families, 1,000 parents, families that showed up to our event. This event had staff from our district, staff from the community, staff, our own personal staff, families all decorated a car where the children were able to walk around in a safe environment and just get trinkets, candy, just see friends, see their teachers decorated their cars and such. So it was another really amazing event, and we're anticipating more families and more cars this year. So we're trying to find maybe a little bigger venue. Our Sweetheart Dance. So what this is we've done this. This is our first year, and with all transparency, most of our parent meetings, most of our functions, other than the trunk or treat, they're rather low. Parents do come out, but of course they're busy. It's later in the evenings. They have other children and such. But our Sweetheart Dance, we probably had about 200 people in attendance. And we had a DJ that volunteers their time. It was amazing. Everything that the students received in this event was also free of charge. We put it out to our entire program. And we had other children from siblings, from other schools. It was a really, really amazing event. Like I said, we really focus on those academics. However, when we get to do things like this, it is very powerful because the children get to see us outside of that element, and we really get to build those social emotional skills. And then we do appreciate our staff, as Dr. Callie was sharing. We can't do any of this without them. So we did have our staff appreciation event down up at the Packham building, up in the upstairs balcony area, dining area, which was absolutely beautiful. We had it in the evening. The lights were amazing. We have about 207 staff that Dr. Callie and I work with. We had about 80 of them show up that evening. Again, we had our DJ there. We were able to dance, unwind, relax, enjoy some fellowship with our coworkers outside of the work. And it was another amazing event to see the diversity of all of our employees, and just to be able to enjoy that time together. Of course, we all need that small break, to unwind, which was really nice. And then our hugest hit of the year, not sure if any of you were able to come. I know President Ceballos came to our trunk or treat at Grice, but this was our first annual Kidchala. So we had such an amazing turnout. Our top corner here of these young men dancing and singing, they were former students of ours. So they put on a performance for us. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. I had some health issues, but I heard they were amazing. And they are all in our drive, and I believed I shared all of those photos with you all. We also got that foam machine from somebody else in our district. Who was it? PYD, Positive Youth Development, loaned us their foam machine. Our staff painted faces. We offered food. We had a great organization called the Goodfellas that donated 400 hot dogs to us, that came out and cooked them and served them and delivered them to our students. So this is another great opportunity not only to promote our program, but to promote the beautiful facility that is there, and for them to see us outside of our elements. They try to get us on the dunk machine, but Dr. Kelly wasn't going to have it. But it was fun nonetheless, and we had a great turnout. We're excited for next year's event. So with all that being said, it is a true pleasure to serve our youngest population. It's a true pleasure to create this foundation of learning for our students. We're excited to move on with these other developmental pamphlets that we're going to be creating. We're excited to share them with you, and we do want to have an open invitation to you all at any time. We will change our schedules around to meet your schedule to come down and visit our classrooms. Dr. Rodriguez comes and takes her little mental breaks in our infant toddler classrooms when she just needs to hold a baby. So you are all more than welcome to come visit our sites and see our children and see where all the learning starts in this district.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tillman.
Just on finances, how much do we get in funding per year for the infants and toddler and for the preschoolers? And then you mentioned the grant that funds the VAPA grant. How much is that grant?
VAPA grant is like $200,000. I believe it's about $200,000 for VAPA.
And then
You might want to come here.
our state program, Infant and Toddler, we receive a little over $24 million to run those programs.
You know how much it is per student?
For 50, I don't have the exact, however, about $56 per student we get. I'd have to get the exact for you.
You get, so the number for the infant and toddlers is how much money? Or is it for all of it?
Oh, for all of it.
It's $20 million?
24, so I believe like, because they're two separate contracts. About 4.9 for our infant toddlers. I'll get you the exact number.
That'd be great. It's just because, you know, the number's going to be substantial, especially for
Yes.
the infant toddler. But I think when we do the advertisement, it helps to say that, you know, the program costs $36,000 a year or $40,000 a year, just so the parents can understand the value of the program. They don't have to pay it out of pocket because the district is paying it. And it has to be substantial if it's an all-day program.
Right.
When you say all day, what time are you talking about?
From 7 to 5:30.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Depending on, you know, the schedule of that
Yeah.
parent.
I think it'd be great to know.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate. Well, actually, we have Ms. Medina, Ms. Rosales Medina.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for your presentation. But it's also what you're doing is creating the love of learning through these extra activities. It's not just academically, but it's also the activities that they want to go back to school. They want to be in school. And by the time they enter elementary school, they're going to still have that they're going to want to go to school. So I appreciate all the work that you're all doing. Thank you.
Again, thank you so much for coming and presenting before us.
Thank
And
you.
yes, we really enjoy coming out there. I think that October, it was Ms. Alexander as well that was out there, and we really enjoyed. So yeah, we'll come by and visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have 8.2, which is Inland Career Education presentation. And again, I will pass it over to Dr. Rodriguez.
Thank you very much, President Ceballos. So today we have the wonderful, awesome principal of the Inland Career Education Center and our vice principal, Miss Elena Simolin, right? Zapata. Zarate. We have a lot of them. I'm sorry about that. The programs that we run across the district, like I said, are second to none. The Inland Career Education Center, which is our adult school, has grown significantly, and you'll be able to see through this data how much it's making an impact in our community. While we would love to be able to serve more people, there is some issues with funding from the federal government, and we'll probably speak to that a little bit today. But it is a pleasure. Many of you have gone to the ICEC building to see the programs that they offer, from barbering to meat cutting, GED, citizenship. It is truly a place where people go and lives are changed. So we're so fortunate that we have a board that supports programs like this. So I'd like to now pass it over to our administrators from ICEC.
Good evening, Board of Education, Executive Cabinet. We want to say thank you, first of all, for the support that we received to be able to engage in this work, right? Like Dr. Rodriguez said, we're very fortunate enough to be a part of a division that takes care of both ends of the community that we serve, our little ones, and then ultimately us, that has no age restriction, right? We want to say that the work that we engage in on a day-to-day, it is a love and a passion to make sure that we're doing everything possible to change the communities which we serve, and that everybody that comes through our doors is provided an opportunity for success. So again, yeah, I believe that we have one of the best adult schools in the state, but today we want to share some numbers, and we also want to share some of the strategies behind why we think we provide an opportunity, again, for everybody that walks through the door. So with that said, I want to pass it on to my co-administrator, Ms. Elena Zarate-Simelin.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Board, Cabinet, for having us today and allowing us to share a little bit about the programs that we run. My name is Elena Zarate-Simelin, and I'm the proud Vice Principal of Academics for the Inland Career Education Center. And you've heard from our principal, but I also have two team members here today that are part of the magic that we see. And I want to take an opportunity to introduce them. So back in the back, we have Ms. Rosa Leon Blanco, who is our teacher on special assignment. And then we also have Ms. Teresa Ramos, who is our head counselor. This team, we have an amazing team of teachers as well and classified staff. And I'm going to share with you a little bit about what it is that we do, and we'll take it from there. All right, so the bridge is something that we intentionally built to help bridge mobility for our adult students. So we cater specifically to the population that's 18 plus, to infinity and beyond. And so I know some of you have joined us in our graduations before and heard we've had some of our graduates that are, in their 70s, and they're super excited and super proud. And that's one of the things that makes us very unique, is that our students come for lots of different reasons. They want to increase their skills. They want to get better employment, all kinds of reasons that our students come. They have different stories, but they all come and they get the same high quality instruction, whether they go into the high school or GED program, whether they go into our ESL, our CTE, or our adults with special needs programs. But tonight we're going to focus specifically on our high school diploma, GED, and our student support services that we offer. And just our goal is not to just help them get that credential, get that diploma or that GED certificate. It's to help them afterward, right? So that they feel equipped with the knowledge and skills to move forward. So before I start talking a little bit about that, I just wanted to paint a little bit of picture of the kind of impact and what we're working with. In the city of San Bernardino, according to the last census, 74% of the adults over 25 had a high school diploma or higher, which leaves thousands of people who are in need of educational opportunities. And we're here to help fill that gap. So we help strengthen families and the workforce in the area. And these are for students who are looking for a second chance, right? And so meeting that need takes a lot more than just great instruction. It takes partnerships. and it also requires sustainable funding. Part of what our funding model is through CAPE and then WIOA Family Literacy, and those funding streams help us not only with instruction but with wraparound supports. All right, so as mentioned before, our students, they're adults, and we know that as we get older, we have increasing responsibilities. We have families, we have our children, we might be taking care of our parents, or we might have different needs of our own. And we find that our students, their biggest barrier is not a lack of motivation, but it's life. And so it's really hard for them to build their life or to move their life around school. So we built our school to cater to them and to be flexible. And so our high school diploma program allows for our students to access the curriculum 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They do have teacher support, and they have assessments that they can do during our business hours, which are extended on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're there until 8 p.m. And then for those students who maybe even sometimes that might not even work for them, we do work with them in special circumstances. We give them other opportunities to assess that might be a little bit more flexible for their needs. Our GED programs, there's morning classes, there's evening classes, and we also have something called HighFlex, meaning students are able to go live in person, but maybe they don't have transportation that day or they're not feeling well. They're able to access the class live and interact with the teacher and the other students in the class from home. And so it gives them that flexibility so that they don't feel like they're falling behind, because sometimes just missing a day might feel like they can't catch up, right? So that's really what we work towards, so that we can increase access and promote persistence within our students. So the model that we're working with really has a foundation. It's equity. And we want to make sure that every student knows that they are in a safe, welcoming, accessible environment, because we know that that's number one. If they don't feel comfortable with us, if they don't feel like they're welcome there, they're not going to come back. So with that, that's our foundation. And then we work on persistence. How do we make sure that they stay, that they continue? Because we know that the more they come with us, the more that they're able to learn. And so we help them with building study habits and help them build confidence and some technology skills and resources. But I see a light on. Does that mean I need to stop?
You can keep going. Do you want to wait? Yeah.
Okay.
You can keep going.
Okay. And then we also make sure that we are, we're not waiting to do interventions. We are constantly looking at our data. We're looking at our attendance, our assessment data, and we're trying to provide some early support. And some of that starts at the very beginning when they come and we have some enrollment conversations. We want to know what brought you to us, and so that we can help identify some of those barriers and provide some supports for our students as well. And lastly, the care, the wraparound services. We have partnerships with CHSI, who brings a mobile medical and dental unit to us a couple of times a month for those physical and dental health needs. We partner with IEHP if they need help, applying for Medi-Cal or any kind of services. Loma Linda University helps provide us with mental health services as well. Even to further education, San Bernardino Valley College, we have a few counselors there specifically for our students twice a week, where they can speak to. Sometimes it's hard to get an appointment with a counselor at the colleges, right? And we have them right there, so they're able to see themselves and have a transition to college. And then, the Olive Branch at Sierra, if they need clothes, if they need food, we try to cover as many bases as we can, so that when they come to school, they know, one, those things are already taken care of, and two, they have a whole team of people supporting them. So what does that look like? Before they even walk in the classroom, we provide an orientation for students, and we let them know of all the support services. We don't wait for them to come up with whatever it is that they need. At least they heard it. At least they know that they can come back and ask if someone hasn't identified it already. Our teachers are really great at monitoring all of our data. We even have, I mentioned before that we have our Valley College counselors. They offer workshops for us on a regular basis, and we open that up to all the students regardless of academic level, so that they can start seeing themselves and they can hear it, because sometimes they have to hear it multiple times. They may not believe that that's a place for them, but once they get to being close to getting their certificate, then, you know, we're like, hey, like, it's time, you're ready. And so through that, some of our students are able to participate in dual enrollment, just like our high school students in the district. And last year we had 28 students participate in dual enrollment. So they were able to work on either the high school diploma or GED and get Valley College credits. So again, just really trying to help them for that next step. Another thing is, we believe that support is everybody's responsibility. We have our teachers, our student support services staff, our classified staff, everybody joins in to help support our students, and they're able to look at our data and see if students need support in real time. We really work on making sure that our dashboards are always up to date so that we can identify students who might be in need of a little bit of extra assistance. We also have counseling interns and social work interns that come with us, and them along with the counselors might do case management. They do intakes with our students. They provide different resources. And if you look at the bottom corner there, I know it's kind of small where it says ICEC support report. That's actually a screenshot of one of our social work interns with our school community resource worker. On a weekly basis, they will look up what's happening in the city, different events, different ways that students can get resources, and they'll create a video, and we'll send it out to everybody on campus so that the teachers can share it with the students. And they're always, so when the mobile units are coming, if there's a trunk or treat or something that might be helpful for the families, students always have that live real-time information. It's like a weekly commercial. And students seem to really, if we happen to send it late, sometimes they'll ask us for it. Another thing we also do is we collaborate with our transitional assistance department in the city. So we want to make sure that our students receive the support that they need so that they can meet the requirements to continue receiving their public assistance if that's something that they're on. So we want to make sure that we're collaborating and making sure they get everything that they need. All right, we don't wait for our students to fail. Teachers are able to initiate SSTs. We have a team that gets together to help them with that. And, you know, we want to make sure that we are consistently just kind of moving our students forward. Again, our graduation is not the ending point. It's our launching point. Before our students finish, we have them complete an exit interview with our counseling staff just to get an update on what it is that their goals are moving forward. And we want them to leave with a clear plan. What is it that they want to do? Where are they going to go to college? Are they going to go to the workforce? We want them to leave confidently and continue that mobility forward. So this is one of the slides that I'm really proud of our team. It's a little bit outdated, so I will say that 69 high school diploma graduates, thank you to our superintendent's summer graduation, we were able to get 6 more high school diploma grads, so that number is now 75. And then we also have our GED grads, 85, so we have a total of 160 grads, which is up from 144 last year. So super proud of that number. And one of the things that we're especially proud of is we saw a 23% increase in our GED grads from last year, which is our highest number since. I was only able to kind of go back to COVID, but it's the highest number that we've had since I've been here, and we're super pumped about it. So And GED is like an external, vendor, and they have their own tests. And so when we do that test prep, that just really gives us like a good idea of where we're at. But these numbers are not just numbers; these are people, and these are families that we've touched, and they're we can see the changes instantly almost, because you see the families, you see the different opportunities that come as a result of earning these certificates. And so I just want to remind us that this is changing our community, and we're accomplishing what we designed, and we're really, really excited about what this next year will bring. The next slide will have a little bit of a quote from one of our previous students. I'm going to read it to you. It says, "I began my journey with Mr. Ibarra, which is one of our functional academic classes, and moved into ABE and then into GED. Along the way, I made friends and found mentors who believed in me, even when I doubted myself. Within a year, I had passed 3 GED exams." So this student dually enrolled in San Bernardino Valley College while working on her GED, and now she's a full-time student. She's a grad and she's a full-time student, and she tells everybody about us, and we're just super proud of her and all of our graduates. So this is just a visual representation. We're just providing that scaffolding to get our students on the road and going to any of the different places that they might need, where we want to restore that confidence. We want to expand the opportunity and create a stronger families and community for the city of San Bernardino. So I talked a lot, sorry. And we wanted to also add some additional outcomes for our other programs. And all of our programs contribute to changing lives, and they represent different pathways and opportunities. But I want to say that every day, our team really has a privilege of walking alongside the students and helping them overcome some of those barriers and see what's possible for them. And I want to thank the board and the cabinet and everybody in the school district for helping making this possible for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Aviles Grande?
Well, I'm a big fan. I just absolutely love every single thing about all your programs, and I love your graduations. It's very, emotional. But I'll why. I was a high school dropout, and I did get a GED. But you know what? And it is all we need to go to a community college. And that's really exciting news. You always think, you have to wait till you have a diploma, and you don't. And yet, I remember after I got my second master's, I go, yeah, I have all these degrees, but I still didn't have that diploma. I had a GED, but I always felt, at that time we didn't have a wonderful program that told me it was okay, that was all right to have a GED, that was worthy, but I always thought still. So I went back to my high school, and they looked at all the classes I'd taken, and I said, well, after, 15 years, Mary Ellen, but all you need is one more class, and we'll give you your diploma. I said, what? I have 217 classes. And they said, well, there was a class that we now have that wasn't there at the time. And if you do this one class, you can have a Redlands High School diploma class of 67. I go, okay, what is it? Where do I go? And he goes, well, it's actually simple. He says, you have to do a big manual on how to get a job, how to write your resume. I'd been a teacher already for a few years. But anyway, I do have a question. When your data, when you said 74% of adults 25 and older have 25 to what age they don't have a high school diploma. So is there in the questionnaire, was there a stop, like as it was from age to 25 to 50 they don't have a diploma? Was it from 25 to 70?
That one is from the census, and so it just has 25 plus.
Oh, okay, it's just from the census. Okay, and so it doesn't ask a question if given an opportunity to return for a diploma or GED. Then that's not in our
Not that I know of, but that
right.
yeah,
It'd be interesting to note on that. Anyway, I just want to offer you my congratulations and ever so thank you for all the wonderful work you do there. It's amazing. You do God's work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman?
Thank you for your presentation, and thank you all for the work that you do. So I had, just for clarification, so can you attend a junior college if you don't have a GED or a high school diploma?
You actually can attend a junior college. The only thing that would be the difference is you wouldn't qualify for financial aid.
Oh. In order to qualify for financial aid, you have to have what?
A diploma or its equivalent.
So, or a GED.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mrs. Alexander?
Thank you for your presentation. I just had a question in reference to just signing up for the public. How does someone even know that they can apply, and where would they go?
Yeah, so actually we have registration going on this week to start on the week of August 10th. How we advertise that so people know, we have it on our website. We also get help, social media. We have someone that posts it, and then all of our partners help us repost those dates as well. Our consortia sends out a postcard, and it has all of the adult schools in the area, and so we do get some traffic based on that. A lot of our students, though, come from word of mouth. From other students, or they'll call and say, hey, when's registration? So we do do the social media marketing, and we also will do Parent Square. And, you know, I'm open to how do we get more students in, because I know that there's a need, and we're there for it.
That's great. And then I just wanted to kind of pull on the additional outcomes, because it was something I read, and maybe it was in one of our newsletters, but with these outcomes, for example, the meat cutters, are they walking away once they finish this program with a job at Stater Brothers? Am I correct? And it's the same with the other vocations. Like, how does that work? Do they have jobs?
Specifically with Stater Brothers, yes, as soon as they are done with their program and successfully challenge the state board test, they have guaranteed promotions that go along with that completion and that certification. That's right. The same goes with our barbers. The majority of our barbers, by the time that they end, they get their certification, they have employment. Our CNA and our VM programs, there is no guarantee of employment, but our students do engage in clinicals. So when they're gonna finish, a lot of them have contingent employment with a lot of the clinics and hospitals that we already partner with. So yeah, the majority of them are leaving with employment, not just a certification, but ready for employment or employed already prior with contingency.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Tillman?
So, so are all the meat cutters already employees of Stater Brothers?
That's correct. So the Meat Cutters is a special program, right? It is a partnership where we're the LEA, we're the lead agency in education there, but it is exclusively to employees of Stater Brothers. So the public cannot normally access that. The way that you access that, you have to apply with Stater Brothers, have good standing, pass probation, and then you become eligible to get into the program, which is a 2-year program.
And you mentioned something at the beginning of your presentation, but you didn't really elaborate on it, maybe unless I missed it, that there may be some concerns about funding from the federal government?
Yeah, so I wanted to clarify a couple of things, but yeah, so one of the things that obviously all adult schools and all of adult all WIOA funded programs are currently just waiting to see where the federal government lands on what they want to do with those WIOA funds. There's a proposal to
what type of funds are you saying?
That's a WIOA. It's workforce investment funds.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so workforce investment funds. There is a proposal to completely eliminate that, but the Congress, it's bicameral, partisan, that they want to keep that funding because they know that it leads to job. It focuses specifically on adults, and having it has a positive impact on the economy. So again, there's a lot of uncertainty. Normally, they approve those funds for a 5-year cycle, which is reevaluated on a year-to-year basis. Last year, they only approved it for 1 year. Again, uncertainty. So this September, we're going to be looking to see what they do with that funding. We have a lot of hope that continues.
That's the same funding that funds the Job Corps?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Because they kind of went away, but they came back, though.
Yeah. And so last year, during this period of time, there was a lot of uncertainty because there was no whether it's going to be there or not. They actually made a decision to continue a continued resolution to fund it, and that was not until October.
I think
So-
that has something to do with the whole Doge thing, right?
That is correct. Yes, sir. It was a recommendation to completely eliminate that funding.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. There was another piece that I wanted to clarify on the census data. I think we said it, but just to make sure that it was heard correctly, it was 75% have a high school diploma. So that leaves that remainder balance of the 25 that do not have that 26, right? The other piece we wanted to quickly update you. Last year, it was a busy year. So we had federal program monitoring. I want to say that I'm very proud of our staff and our school. But in federal program monitoring, we did not have any findings. And we were the first department in the district to get completely done with that process. So I'm just want to say that. Additionally, we did have a dual accreditation visit. We had WASC, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which is what we need in order to operate as a legitimate high school. We actually went through the accreditation process, and we actually got the highest possible outcome, which was a 6-year clear with just a mid-year 3-year report that we have to provide. So again, another great accomplishment. And we did have a dual accreditation visit, which is the Council on Occupational Education. I think I shared with you last year that the reason why we're pursuing that, it's because hopefully if we get that accreditation, it's a federal accreditation. And the goal is to be able to provide financial aid, FAFSA funding for our CTE programs, to provide some additional sources of funding for all of our students to access our programs. So that one it's going great. They still haven't made a decision as to what our standing is going to be, if we're going to be fully accredited. We do continue on the candidate track again, so we haven't got kicked off that track, so we're still good. But we're looking forward to the decision and to being able to share it out here with you all at a later time. Thank you.
And I also want to kind of manifest this. We're going to say it, and hopefully within the next 5 years it happens.
All right.
We want to make ICEC into our own college. So maybe talk about that.
That's correct. So in addition to the if we were to get this federal accreditation, and in addition to the FAFSA situation, we could also start applying for what is called WASC Plus. WASC Plus gives us the opportunity to be a credit issuing institution. So right now, we have a program that qualifies and would need additional courses, but is really close to qualifying, and that would be our licensed vocational nursing program. So they would finish our licensed vocational nursing program. If we get this accreditation, we could then partner with another organization to make sure that that accreditation happens. So our students that are going through our LVN program will eventually be able to leave accreditation, pass the board, and they could also have a degree, which would be a transferable degree to a 4-year university. That is our goal.
Our goal. So
Right.
it will be Inland Career Technical College.
Yeah. So we'll have to come back to you to change the name as
Yeah.
well. Yes. Yeah. But thank you for manifesting.
You're
that.
welcome.
We got to put it out there. Yes, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. What a great presentation. And as you were saying that, I was thinking, could this be a, possible college credit providing institution or school, if you will. So I'm manifesting it right there with you. And I do have just a brief question. So you said that the registration process was this week with the start date of August 10th. Does that registration include all of your programs? I mean, I guess mine is the meat cutters, but it could be included, but that's not open to the public. But is it on the other ones? Is it for all of them?
No. So each program, so our CT programs has dedicated weeks so July is our mass registration, right?
Okay.
We have other registrations during the year, depending on whether the courses are on a trimester, semester, or a yearly basis. But during the summer, each there's a week dedicated to just academics. There'll be another week dedicated, which is next week, dedicated for ESL, and then the subsequent week would be our CTE programs, and not all the CTE programs, because again, they're on different cycles. But again, that's like Ms. Elena had said, that's shared via our website, that's shared via social media. In our social media, our community partners that we partner with normally help us in posting our information of registration. So we have different outlets to get that out into the community. In addition to that, we do participate in the majority of major events that our district has that have direct connection to the parents.
And they can also just show up at the site, right?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
For CTE, that's really managed enrollment. Everything else is managed enrollment too, but it's easier to get them into like the academic program or to the ESL program.
Okay, so if they're ever in doubt or whatever, they can just kind of show up and you can guide them or redirect them to.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Okay, well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you
you.
again for the presentation, all the great work that you do.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, yes. We're gonna go ahead and move on to our next presentation, and that's 8.3 bond update presentation. I will go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Cogney.
Good evening, President Ceballos and Vice President Abeles Grande, Board of Trustees, Executive Cabinet, and Community. Thank you for this opportunity to come back to you from our April board meeting when the board requested that staff conduct a bond feasibility assessment or study. And before I turn the microphone over to Mr. Tom Pace, I wanted to give some context and some background since this has almost been a year in the process of where we started and where we are today. So back on April 19th of 25, the board had asked for a bond presentation that in effect shared what a bond's purpose and process was or is. Then in September on the 16th, 2025, we came back to the board at the request from the board to present our needs assessment. And then on January 20th of 2026, the board passed a resolution authorizing the release of a bond public opinion survey where we had two companies that we utilized for this service, True North Research and EMC Research. And then in March, on March 17th this year, there was a bond presentation that shared the results of this public opinion research and bond feasibility. On April 7th of this year, the board approved an agreement with Team Civex where we would conduct a mailer to assess the electoral feasibility of a ballot measure to be placed on the November ballot. And then the board also asked for a tracking poll of registered voters consistent with the ballot testing we did in January from the January poll that was used for this current tracking poll. Tonight, Mr. Tom Pace will review the details of the initial poll, the subsequent educational mailer, and as well as the tracking poll data that we have currently to determine voter sentiment and to assist the board in its consideration of a bond measure for the November 26th ballot. With that, I'll turn this over to Mr. Tom Pace.
Good evening, Board President Ceballos, Board and Cabinet. As Terry mentioned, tonight we're going to review two items. The first is the work by our communications consultant, Team CivicX. In the upper left-hand corner of this slide, you will see a mailer that was sent to every resident in the city, and we're going to go over tracking poll survey results that was recently completed as of last week. We sent out this mailer to all residents and property owners within the city, soliciting feedback. We talked about what our need is. It was not advocacy. It was more educational focused and solicited feedback. So of the mailers that went out, we received, as of this morning, 219 survey responses, including 89 written comments. The survey remains open, so these results represent a point-in-time summary. Overall, the feedback showed strong support for addressing aging school facilities, particularly HVAC, roofs, plumbing, electrical systems, and accessibility improvements. The written comments generally reinforced those priorities. Many respondents shared firsthand concerns about the condition of older schools and the need for facility upgrades. We also heard concerns about fiscal responsibility, transparency, and the need for strong oversight. The overall message was clear. The community recognizes the need for investment in school facilities, but expects the district to be careful, transparent, and accountable in how those funds are used. We're going to now go back in time a bit. So in March, when we shared the public opinion research that was conducted, this is what you saw. We did two separate research approaches. True North focused on likely voters, while EMC research focused on residents who were less likely to vote. Taken together, these two surveys provided a more complete view of both the electorate and the broader community. Both firms tested the same basic bond concept, $345 million, focused on repairing and upgrading aging classrooms, laboratories, career technical education facilities, roofs, plumbing, and electrical systems. Among likely voters, True North measured support at 60%, with 20% opposed. Among the broader, less likely population to vote, EMC found 68%, with 23 opposed. The value of conducting both surveys was the board received more than a traditional electional snapshot. It received a broad community picture. Both results showed meaningful support for the proposed investment, while also confirming the need for additional outreach and updated tracking before the board considered whether to place a measure on the ballot. Let's fast forward. Last week, we concluded a tracking poll survey. This slide shows the July tracking results. The updated survey tested the same essential structure included in the proposed election resolution, and the proposed uses focused on aging classrooms and laboratories. In the July tracking poll, we found 66% of respondents initially supported the measure, 21% opposed it, and 13% were unsure. The most appropriate comparison is between the two True North surveys. Support increased from 60% in the baseline survey to the 66% in July, a 6-point increase. Opposition declined from 27% to 21%, while the percentage of unsure voters remained at 13%. The principal finding is that support did not decline during the outreach period. Instead, the updated survey shows stronger natural support than the baseline survey. The research also tested positive and oppositional messages, and support remained above the 55% threshold even after negative messaging. This is encouraging, but it is not a guarantee. Economic conditions, voter turnout, competing ballot measures, organized opposition, and the broader political environment can affect an election. Based on the work completed since March, staff's conclusion is that a November 2026 bond measure remains feasible. There are several positive indicators. Voters continue to identify the quality of local education and the condition of school facilities as important community concerns. Initial support in the tracking survey is 66%, above the 55% voter approval required, and 6 points higher than the comparable January True North result. The projects identified in the research also align closely with the priorities expressed through the community survey. The proposed bond measure would authorize up to $345 million in bonds. The estimated average and highest tax rate is 45 for 100,000 assessed value. The estimated debt service, including principal and interest over the life of the bonds, is approximately $670 million. Bonds would be used and issued in multiple series over time based on project's need, assessed valuation, interest rates, and market conditions. The project list includes roofs, HVAC, plumbing, electrical systems, health and safety improvements, accessibility, classrooms, laboratories, special education, and career technical educational facility improvements, replacement of portable classrooms, safety and security systems, athletic and performing arts centers, and early learning and transitional kindergarten facilities, and new construction based on projected student demographics and overcrowding needs. There are also challenges. The economic environment remains difficult. The political climate is highly polarized. Feasibility does not mean certainty. A successful measure would require clear information, sustained engagement, responsible project prioritization, and strong accountability. That concludes the update requested by the board in March. Based on the district's documented facility needs, the community feedback, and updated polling, staff recommends that the board provide voters with the opportunity to decide whether to authorize the proposed investment in school facilities. Later tonight, under action item 10.6, the board will consider a resolution calling a school bond election for November 3rd, 2026. The resolution would place before voters a measure authorizing up to $345 million in general obligation bonds with an estimated tax rate of approximately $45 per 100,000 of assessed value. Approval of the resolution would not issue bonds or impose a tax tonight. It would place the question before the voters. The measure would require at least 55% voter approval. If approved by voters, bond proceeds could be used only for eligible capital facility projects and could not be used for teacher or administrator salaries or other operating expenses. The measure requires an independent citizens oversight committee, annual independent financial and performance audits, a separate bond proceeds account, and annual public hearing. Projects would be completed according to board established priorities, facility conditions, available bond proceeds, construction costs, and the availability of state matching funds. Inclusion of a project on the list does not guarantee that every listed project will be completed. Ultimately, tonight's action item is the decision about whether voters should be given the opportunity to make the choice in November. Thank you, and we're here for any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Tillman?
In terms of the other bonds like Measure N, is there any money left there in Measure N?
No, sir. We have two measures that are outstanding, Measure T and N. They do remain some available proceeds, but they are obligated to existing construction projects.
So the one in Measure N where it says $40 million, what's that obligated for?
I would have to go back and look to let you know, but we have several ongoing projects that they're associated with. My guess is we're doing athletic projects at Cajon, San Bernardino High School.
You're doing what kind of project?
Athletic projects, so I'm guessing that a lot of the proceeds, most of our projects are split funded, so I'd have to go back and identify exactly which projects are associated with the remaining dollars. But I know of our existing projects. We're working at Pacific High School, Cajon High School, San Bernardino High School, and our bond proceeds are spread amongst several projects.
So I guess my question is though, so the $40 million that's left, I'm just reading this audit, the $40 million that's left from Measure N, you said it's for those projects, right?
Correct.
So I'm assuming it would be prioritized. So I know in all these questions we say things like plumbing and heating and roofing. If we had outstanding stuff for plumbing and heating and those type of things, would they have been done before those athletic stuff?
So we're actually currently working on some lighting, air conditioning projects. We invested about $50 million several years ago in ongoing HVAC replacement, electrical upgrades. So we are tackling a wide variety of our need already, but there exists more need on top of that.
I just want to be clear that if we had a need for the fixing, replacing deteriorating roofs and plumbing and HVAC, we would have did that before we did the $40 million for the athletic facilities, right?
Well, not all 40 is going to athletic, but yes.
Maybe you can give me a list of what is that $40 million is being used for. I know a lot of board members weren't here, but I know we've done 3 bonds since I've been here, and I know the money's been used properly. I just have a concern that the district has a lot of money. $340 million is not a substantial lot of money. I'm concerned about the hardship on the residents in terms of insurance going up, as we know, with the whole financial status in our area. But I know that you guys do a good job of taking care of our facilities, and I know too that we have money every year, more than expected, in any balances that could be used for these type of things. I wish we would take that approach versus because the $350 million will be paid back over 30 years, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So if you look at 30 years, it's like $10 million a year. I think the district could pay for those type of things already out of the money that's provided to us through the property taxes that the residents are already paying. Thank you.
And we'll get you that information, sir. I made a note.
Ms. Rosales Medina? Oh, it's not turning on here, but Ms. Alexander.
Thank you for all the work that you and your staff just put into just listening to us and the surveys and making sure that at least we have assurance that we took the necessary steps to engage with the community. I just had 2 questions. So the initial testing, we had 2 surveyors, right? I'm not sure I understood why we didn't hire the 2 for the second one for July. Did we just say not to? I just don't recall why we only had outcomes from 1.
The cost of testing.
Okay.
I think we felt like initially we had over 1,400 surveys that were done. We felt like we had a pretty good reach into the community amongst likely and unlikely voters. This time around, we did about 440 surveys. We did enough to get the statistical reliability of a 95% confidence level.
Okay. And then you validated that, right?
We did. I checked 3 times for you.
Thank you. And then the last one, I just wanted to verify, like from a prioritization standpoint, I see what you have here in terms of in order to repair and what to focus on the survey, but I wasn't sure if I heard exactly any progression, like what we would recommend for the funding from a STEM perspective.
Perfect. Included on the dais, we gave you a proposed project list. We gave this back to the board by Friday update in April of 2026, so I brought that back out. In all cases, so what we have told our community, or what we're telling the community, is what the proposed project list is, which is attached to the agenda item. You guys have the list in front of you. That's subject to working with our board and the prioritization that comes after approval.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just think for the public, though, they need to know.
Yep.
Thank you.
If you would like to know what staff thinks about generally what priorities would be, I think I can categorize them very quickly into 3 or 4 categories. Residential growth, we have a responsibility for making sure that we house our students where we have are impacted by residential growth, which we do have some on the north end. From there, we have modernization projects that are eligible to receive matching state funds. So I think anything that we spend money on, we ought to try to leverage our local funding to receive additional state funding. Beyond that, then I think we get into safety and then other projects that the board would like to prioritize.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Rosales Medina?
Yes, thank you for the updated report and especially the new numbers. I did want to mention and have folks really understand how important that that first testing that happened in January of 2026, because EMC research, tested low propensity voters, and low propensity voters are our special market of individuals that haven't really been engaged in the election process. And so it's really good to hear and see that they were in high support. There was some opposition, yes, but not compared to the one that was for those that are higher propensity voters. Those are the folks that do come out and vote, are consistently coming out to vote. And so it was good to see that there was still a good amount of support within low propensity voters. And of course, the increased portion of the continued support. So I'm really pleased with that. I do see that, Mr. Tillman actually mentioned, there was funds left in the annual report, and I know we're going to have that discussion later. There are some items in there that shows that there's design and planning. There's some that are completed. Most of them are completed. Is that where the area that those funds that are still pending, as it's showing there, some of them are still in design, planning, and so forth?
Yes, we are currently under design for several projects, including a couple gymnasiums for our middle schools. There's design costs related to that. As mentioned in the next Friday update, I will provide an exact list of how the remaining Measure N funds are being allocated.
Okay, yes, thank you for clarifying that. And as well, I think you mentioned in previous presentations where there is a potential match of funds, and that it wouldn't necessarily come, all of the funds would come from the voters. There would be another match coming from somewhere else. Can you explain that a little bit more?
The state had a bond measure placed on the ballot last year, got approved, which authorizes up to $12 or $13 billion of state funding to augment local school districts' funding for school construction needs. We qualify for over $200 million of matching state funds, so we could use local money raised here to qualify for an additional $200 million. So if we looked at a $350 million bond measure, in reality, you're looking at close to $650 million of additional funding for schools.
Well, this would be a prime opportunity to take advantage of those funds and get more for what we're gonna create
As
here.
every taxpayer, we pay into the state system. If we do not take advantage of those matching funds, this community's state dollars are going to go to other communities.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I see no other questions. So I thank you for your presentation, and we look forward to the action item. Up next, we have 8.4 Citizens Oversight Committee 2025-26 Annual Report. And again, that is going to be turned over to Mr. Komnick, and we'll give him some time to get back. Thank you, Mr. Pace.
Okay, again, good evening, President Ceballos and Vice President Grande, Board of Trustees and Cabinet. Tonight we have an update from the 24-25 audit. We have first Ms. Zeilman, who will speak to as a representative from the Citizens Oversight Committee, and will share her findings. And then following her, we have Mr. Bobby Patel from ID Bailey, who will report on the audit findings from that same time period. Ms. Zeilman?
There's a button right there on the base of the, yep.
Hey, am I on? All right. Good evening, Ms. Ceballos and board members. It's good to see you all again. My name is Janie Zeilman, and I am the current Vice Chair of Measure T and Measure N Bond on the Citizens Oversight Committee Board. It is my pleasure to present to you the committee's annual report. I am currently in my second term on the Citizens Oversight Committee and continue to enjoy seeing how the district has made the most of the bond funds to improve the school environment from the children for our community. And I just wanted to let you know that I also am a former school district employee, retired. My daughter teaches at Serrano Middle School. I live here in the city of San Bernardino, and I continue to volunteer in the city of San Bernardino. So we are proud of what the committee does, how well our schools look, and we appreciate this opportunity to let you know that we fully support what is happening with our facilities department and how great our schools look. The committee is legally charged under the Education Code and the California Constitution with direct taxpayer review of the bond measure and with informing the public about expenditures of the bond proceeds to ensure that spending conforms to the bond language approved by voters. I am here this evening to inform the board and the public regarding the committee's findings. From the 21st year of the bond program through July 24th through June 25th, the committee has prepared an annual report to highlight the projects for this time period and to certify that the district is in compliance with the requirements of the California Constitution. Specifically, we are certifying that the following 3 requirements have been fulfilled. Proceeds from the bond sales were used only for the construction, reconstruction, rehabilitation, or replacement of school facilities, including the furnishing and equipping of school facilities, or the acquisition or lease of real property for school facilities. A list of specific school facilities to be funded by the bond has been prepared. An annual independent performance audit has been prepared to ensure that the funds were expended appropriately for the projects listed. This information was validated by the independent auditing firm of E.D. Bailey, and you will have a copy of the report as filed on June 30th, 2025. The committee members continue to be pleased with the progress that the district has made in building new schools and improved learning spaces for the community schools. This is evident to the reimagination of school campuses across the district and continuing efforts across the city to bring vibrant, safe learning spaces for students and community. The Citizens Oversight Committee members and officers wish to thank the board and our superintendent, when he's watching us, and staff for their support and appreciate this opportunity to serve the taxpayers of the district and to inform the public regarding the Measure T and the Measure N bond funds. It is my pleasure to serve in the district in this capacity and to be a member of this committee. I would like to encourage anyone who is listening or any friends that you know to serve on this committee and to apply for membership. I want to thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bobby Patel. I'm a partner with Hyde Bailey in charge of district's bond audit and also the main audit. Before I get started, I like to usually describe what an audit is. It's a process designed to provide reasonable assurance whether the financial statements are free of material misstatements. And ultimately, the goal of audit is to provide an auditor's opinion. The highest level of opinion we provide, it's called an unmodified opinion. And that being said, for the district's bond audit, the report is really twofold. The first part of the report, it's on the financial statements, and the second part is on the performance audit of both measures. That being said, on the financial statement, the district did earn an unmodified opinion with a material weakness noted. There were no significant deficiencies noted. On the performance side, what we do is we take a look at the district's project list that was approved by the voters for both measures, and also the California State Constitution Article 13A, and making sure all the sample transactions from the fiscal year align with those two documents. For Measure T, we selected 98% of the total expenditures from the fiscal year, and they were all in alignment with what your voters approved the Measure T monies to be spent on. And likewise for Measure N, we selected 98% of the expenditure, and they also aligned to what your voters approved the monies to be spent on. That being said, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have for either of the measures.
Doesn't look like we have any questions.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you coming out and reporting. Thank you so much. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on to 9.0 board discussion. 9.1 consideration of sponsorship for the CSUSB Latino Education and Advocacy Day Summit 15. There's an FYI, we have sponsored this organization in the past. The most recent in 2025 for $5,000. So at this time, morning discussion method. We have done in the past 5,000. This past year was 5,000. The previous year, 2024, was 10,000, and then the previous year, 2023, was 5,000. So at this time, I would like to entertain a motion. Ms. Medina?
Yes, I'd like to motion to sponsor with $5,000 for $5,000.
Second the motion.
Okay, Ms. Medina, motion, Dr. White, second. Is there any discussion? All right, let's vote, please.
Mr. Tillman, Ms. Ceballos?
I press mine. Okay, looks like motion carries. Moving on to 9.2, discussion of bylaw 9330.01, expenditure of public funds to third-party organizations. At the last board meeting, it was noted that the bylaw states a sponsorship can only be given to an organization once per fiscal year. So that was a comment that Mr. Tillman had made. So I wanted to make sure that it was looked at and brought back. So it is on the agenda now. There have been no changes made to it. So I was opening up for discussion for language. Mr. Tillman?
I would just ask that we change it to calendar year. That way it's not possible for a new organization to get funding twice in the same calendar year.
I'd support that.
Dr. Wyatt?
Thank you, Madam President. Just so for clarity, we are only going to be awarding any given organization only once a year, once per calendar year.
Right, that way they won't be able to come back. If we say fiscal year, if somebody's brand new, they could come in and submit twice in a calendar year if you do it by fiscal year. That's why I'm suggesting we do it by calendar year.
I would agree with that amendment. I don't know if we have to motion that or make a suggestion. Is this just a review right now?
Yeah, so we're going to discuss it, and I think we
Okay.
can make a motion to move, but let me chime in with that as well. I went back and I kind of thought it through and I looked at it, and as a matter of fact, that turning it into a fiscal year versus a calendar year does not avoid that problem. That either option does not avoid that problem. So we still run into the issue of them potentially petitioning like November and December. Let's say December and January. So it would be calendar year, but it would still be within the fiscal year. So I would propose that that it's hold on, I had written it down. Yeah, but there is a chance for overlap in the same academic year, like fiscal year. So for example, the fiscal year runs from, August or July 1st really to June 30th. So they would be receiving a sponsorship potentially the same academic year. So if we really want to avoid them receiving it twice, either a fiscal year or a calendar year, my suggestion would be to say no more than 12 consecutive months. And so what would need to happen is that the ladies, either Karen or whoever oversees that, whenever there comes a request and we sponsor it, they would have to record the date, and then we would not be able to receive or make another sponsorship for 12 consecutive months. Regardless of when we approved it or granted it, we would hold to 12 consecutive months before we make another approval. So that would be a year's worth.
My only concern is if we say calendar year, that means they only can do it one time during a calendar year. And the reason why I think that's better is because, say for instance, a person has an organization has an event in March, and the next year they decide they're not going to have it until, or they're going to have it. Say they have it in June, but the following year they're going to have it in March. They shouldn't be penalized if they change the date, as long as they only get it 1 year. If it's within 12 months period, they should still be able to do it if it's not in the same calendar year. If they change the date of their event, if you do it your way, then they could get penalized and be blocked out of being able to get funding for the next year.
I'm sorry, Dr. White, you were...
Well, since my light's still on, I'll take advantage of that. No, just kidding.
Go ahead.
Madam President, I probably defer to our CBO, Associate Superintendent, Mr. Komnick. I imagine, did Madam President run this by you and then kind of discuss how that works with timelines, fiscal versus calendar year? Because, obviously we have a couple concerns here, and, which one works best for only, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Tillman, but funding somebody once per year. Which model works for us? Because we're all having a little mini debates over here, so including me and Michael.
in the current fiscal year that we operate from July 1 to June 30, you could have one. So it's 2025, 2026. We cross into 2027. So you could still have one if you had one. Let's say it was every 6 months, September and March. That would still be in one fiscal year. However, that would, if it doesn't happen again until 2028, after the March 2027, then your calendar year works best. But to Mr. Tillman's example of where somebody has a date of June and then adjusts it to March, I guess my only concern would be is how many adjustments can be made then to, not that somebody would circumvent the system and try to play along with it, but I find interest in what Ms. Ceballos is saying regarding a 12-month marker, which would ensure that 12 months from that date of approval by this board would then, and we just track that and monitor it for the board, that would be assured that there would be a 12-month consecutive window of no, even if they did a change, it would still not impact us because we were 12 months out from that initial date of approval.
So the language that I was proposing is an organization shall be eligible to receive no more than one sponsorship during any rolling 12-month period. So that would be a 12-month consecutive period. So if our intention is that we want to make sure that we're not providing more than one sponsorship per a 12-month period, call it what you want, whether it's a fiscal year or calendar year, but if the goal is 12-month period, then I think that this would cover us from either or. Mr. Tillman.
Concern is, I know if an organization that we support happens to change their date to 2 months, let's just say they had an event in 2026. The event they have in 2027, they moved it up by 2 months for whatever the reason, and they come to their favorite board member and say, "Hey, are you going to sponsor us?" They're not going to be thinking about this whole 12-month thing. The challenge then is going to be, is the board member going to say, "Well, you didn't understand our 12-month thing, so because you changed your date, you can't get funding." And I can see that happening. And so it's just easier to say you get funding one time a calendar year, irregardless of the 12 months. They can work that out the way they want to. But if you make it just once a year, I think it makes it cleaner.
Ms. Rosales Medina.
Oh, I get what Mr. Tillman's saying, but is there a way to do both? For instance, add the calendar year and then also incorporate the language you're referencing, is that they would within the 12 months. So like, for instance, it's true. If it was one organization may take advantage of it in 2025, 2026 in March, but yet within that same year, but not not necessarily the same calendar year, but within that same year, 2026, 2027, July, ask another funding. So within technically that same year they did, but it's under the calendar year. The only thing is that then they would not be able to receive it until the next following. So maybe is there a way to include both languages just to kind of safeguard it, just in case it kind of falls through a loophole? And
I thought about it, and I kind of wrote out and played it out. I don't think so, but Mr. Komnick, if there is a way, and I say I don't think so because if we're doing a calendar year, we have to start at some point. So January 1st to December 31st, right? So if we have a person that is, doing December 31st and then they do something in January or February, it's technically 2 different calendar years, right? But it's, within the same school year. To me, I wouldn't support something like that. I would support 12 rolling, months. And, I understand Mr. Tillman's concern, but I would just say, maybe communicate that to our partners and let them know that, it is 12 months. So kind of think carefully around your planning events. But Mrs. Alexander, your light doesn't come up over here. I'm sorry.
On those same lines, could we create an exception? I understand because sometimes organizations, their calendar is impacted because of another organization and they can't have that event on the scheduled date. So there are times where I would think we could take that into consideration and maybe create an exception. Not to say that the exception would become the rule, but it's an opportunity space just to foster those partnerships, especially organizations that we have supported over the years. Not a new organization, but this is maybe those long-term partnerships, just like what we did for LEAD. This is a long-term partnership, and we just take that into consideration.
Miss Aviles Grande?
Crazy. Couldn't we just do once every 12 months?
Well, that's what I was saying, like once every 12 rolling months.
Once every 12 months, and they can decide what that means. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Tillman.
Problem is when organizations decide when they're doing their events, they're not doing it based on the district's policy. So if they're in their meetings and they say, okay, we're not going to do the event in November, we're going to do it in June instead, and they're not thinking that, oh, that's going to violate the district's policy. They're going to change the date and then assume that they're going to come to the district and get financing because they've always gotten it from the district. And for us to tell them, because you moved your event up three months sooner, you're not going to get funding this year, it's not going to be a good thing. And then you get back to doing exceptions. Why do we care when they do their event as long as we say you get one event in 2026, one in 2027, one in 2028, whatever day you pick, we don't care. And I can see it happening. It's going to be a big deal to them. Let's say United Way, for instance, or the Making Hope Foundation. They could easily move the date 3 months one way or the other because they have a different event. They're going to change it to a breakfast versus a ball. And when it happens and they realize they're not going to get funding, that's when they're going to put pressure on us. We wouldn't have to deal with that if we just say you get funding once a year, once every calendar year.
So, I mean, at this point, if that's my motion. I would like to motion for 12 rolling. Let me repeat my language. An organization shall be eligible to receive no more than one sponsorship during any rolling 12-month period. So that would be my motion. So there's a motion and then there's a second. So then we can vote on that. Motion carries. Dr. Wyatt?
Just a little clarification, I think, any bylaws, can be revisited any time and amended, just in case we come back and say, oh, maybe that wasn't a great idea. So I just want to always remind us that these things can be amended.
Thank you. Next up, we have 10.0 action items, 10.1 personnel report.
As presented.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Tillman, second by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please. Motion carries. 10.2, approval of federal procurement thresholds for child nutrition program purchases.
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Tillman, second by Mr. Santos. Vote, please.
Mrs. Medina?
Motion carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the federal procurement thresholds for nutrition services. 10.3, acceptance of building fund financial and performance audits reports for fiscal year 24-25.
So moved.
Who? Mr. Tillman motioned and Mr. Santos second. Vote, please.
Mrs. Ceballos?
Motion carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the building fund financial and performance audits report for fiscal year 24-25 and acceptance. 10.4, facilities use agreement between the SBCUSD and SOAR Charter Academy.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Tillman, second by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please.
Dr. Wyatt?
Motion carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the facilities use agreement for SOAR Charter Academy. 10.5, renewal of district-wide K-12 rating difficulty risk screener adoption.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Wyatt, second by Ms. Rosales Medina. Vote, please. Motion carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the renewal. 10.6, resolution of Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District ordering a school bond election and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewithin.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Aviles Grande and second by Ms. Rosales Medina. Vote, please. My voting disappeared. Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Mrs. Grande?
Motion carries. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves the resolution ordering of the school bond election and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewithin. 11.0, approval of consent list.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Tillman, second by Ms. Medina. Is there any items to pull? Okay, seeing none, vote please.
Mrs. Alexander?
Thank you. Motion carries. 12.0 mandated policy revisions. 12.1 policy 5145.13 response to immigration enforcement.
Moved.
Moved by Ms. Medina, second by Mr. Santos. Any discussion? Nope. Vote, please.
Mrs. Grande?
So that was for 11.15 it shows. So we're on 12.1. Yeah. Yeah, but on the screen of what comes up for me, voting results is showing 11.15. No, it was pulled up and then I think it got removed. No, it came up, but then it went away.
The last thing we voted on was the immigration thing, right?
It's 12.1, yeah. So that's, no, that was 12.1. Yeah, it was just showing 11.15 because it was the last thing that was, it was 11.0, like list. No, I'm still seeing the last. It says voting in progress for 11.15, but that was part of the consent list.
Can they do the voting for us so we can just move forward?
Okay, so it did pass. Okay, so 12.1 motion carries. So I'm going to go ahead and move to 13.0, and if you can bring it, great, and if not, I'll call it verbal, if that's okay. So 13.0 board policies and bylaws discussions.
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Tillman, second by Mrs. Alexander. Vote, please. So I'm going to call it. Oh, it's coming. Okay. There we go. A motion passed. 14.0 reports and comments. 14.1 board members. Are there any volunteers? Ms. Medina, Ms. Rosales Medina.
Yes, thank you so much. You know, this was a good meeting. This was a really good meeting. There was several of the policies that were updated that were really good, and I'm really proud of our district for doing this. I do want to ask that there has been several times where, you know, certain agencies throughout within our school district boundaries, you know, have moved items under their jurisdiction, and sometimes they're not necessarily in the benefit of our communities or neighborhoods or students or even school sites. You know, with the recent case right now that there is a proposed, well, it was passed, but now they're asking for an extension of building a warehouse literally across the street from one of our high schools. And it does pose issues. It's not just homes. In the previous times, the district has submitted letters of opposition to ask them not to support when they were trying to look at removing homes that would ultimately disenfranchise communities and families and displace them. And so I'm really proud the district moves on these items, but sometimes we find out a little too late. And also there was a situation where there was water resource plant, which is basically, you know, a sewage, and right there across the street from Indian Springs High School, that was that we didn't even find out until they came to present of the great things that they're going to do. And I remember asking them, well, is it going to create smells? And they said, no, it wouldn't. I've had a report to AQMD twice already because of the smell of feces driving across these homes. And literally while I was going to Indian Springs. So the smell of feces. And so this is an issue. And I want to try to pose and ask my fellow board members if there's a way we can do like a consensus that if these items come up, that the department, you know, with Tom Pace or those that are in that department, they can look at this and at least do research and investigate and then come back with recommendations versus us finding after the fact. So that would be something I would try to ask with regards if I can get consensus on that.
I will, but are you done with your part
Yes,
of the okay,
yes.
yeah. Can I go around and get consensus? So you're asking, just for clarity, you're asking that if issues or items like that come with neighboring organizations like city council or, you know, I don't know, the water department
or any kind of agencies that may build, even if you know, it may be something that's on the agenda, at least we know about it because they've come until after the effect.
So you're asking specifically that the district keep an eye out, like an active eye out for these things happening in the area and notify the board with ample time to see if the board wants to take a position or chime in. Okay.
No order. I think you'd have to agendize the discussion.
Okay, then I can do that as well. That's no problem. But so then
So I
it
can
would
move the
be
consensus to
agendize.
agendize the item. Yes, no, I agree.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Tillman. So can I get consensus to agendize the item? Okay, yes. And I think up next we had Ms. Avila Grande. You took it off? Okay, Ms. Alexander. Sorry, your light doesn't come up here. We need to fix that, please.
It's okay. Just wanted to say congratulations to the summer graduates from yesterday. It was an amazing graduation. Dr. Rodriguez gave a very inspirational keynote speech, And what really stood out to me was this was a collaboration between two departments. So we had educational services and student services, all invested in these students to make sure that whatever they needed, they were able to graduate successfully. I think it's important for people to know that the students that had graduated yesterday, it's a combination of factors. And so the very fact that whatever that was, that they were able to walk across that stage successfully. Some of them were going to school. I know that there was one that was a Marine, and we just wish them the best of success. And so I was just happy to be there. I was there with Board Member Santos, and he really did send them off by saying class of 2026. So that's it. So.
Awesome, thank you. And I'm going to just go down this side. Mr. Tillman? No comment. Okay, Ms. Aviles Grande, no comment. Dr. Wyatt?
Thank you, Madam President. Just want to say thank you always to our team for our back to school celebration. I'm not sure, backpack giveaway. We got a lot of different names for it, but extravaganza. There we go. And well done as always. It was a little warm. We know that out there, but our safety folks and our local police department were really quick on the scene to make sure to render any aid that was necessary. Learning lesson for us always. And then we had a young man out there, little Mikey Santos, who is our newest star in our city. Hopefully he'll be on the news here soon. So we got to be in his great presence. Let me just say that. Don't know whose kid that is, but he was a cool little kid. But no, just great to see us. I think we had like 8,000 folks there. 7,500, and thank you to Valley College as well, Dr. Gil Contreras and his team and all the other educational partners we had out there. It was a really great setup around the football field and a track. It actually gave us an opportunity to get some steps in and have a little bit of fun, but just a great event. Sheriff Dykes was out there as well, and just a lot of other people. What's our one organization, the Christmas group? What was that? Santa Claus Inc. Thank you. They're always a big contributor, but we had, I couldn't list them all. We should have a banner saying all the folks that supported us, but how many? Over 80 vendors. Wow. I'll be honest, I didn't know it was close to that many. So and that's something I think we talk about, and I look at my time. I was real fortunate to be on a panel today, a really amazing panel, IEEP, Inland Education Economic Partnership. And we talked about, what are they called? When kids come together. Takeovers. And I said, we really don't experience that here in our district. We have times when kids want to get together and maybe in mass and do something maybe silly, but we're always way ahead of it, and compliments to our school police, as well as our resource officers, as well as our administrators, our student board members, all those that are really close to our kids out there, and talking to them and having their finger on the pulse of what's going on or what might happen. And I said, we are really, really good at that. We became excellent after it. For some other reasons, some tragedies we had, but I think we do a fantastic job. So I was discussing, how we deal with that, how we react to it to minimize and maybe even eliminate that happening, because it's been happening a lot. Actually, I got some research from LA County, 135 incidents in LA County last year alone, but it was condensed into 5 cities out of the many cities in LA County. So I brought that information. I said, so you can really isolate these incidents to where we could be there when necessary and do a saturation patrol or something like that, where our visual presence, our general deterrence is enough in itself. And so we had Ernie Perez, Assistant Sheriff, and then the Deputy Chief from Redlands as well was there. But proud to represent San Mateo City and San Mateo County, and I think we're doing an amazing job at making sure those kind of things don't happen here. And I didn't get to attend the event, but just want to say congratulations to Jaden Daniels and thank you for the amazing event he had this weekend. He had his backpack giveaway at Cal State San Mateo. Looked like an amazing event. So again, Jaden, thank you for always coming back and remember San Mateo City. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'll come back to Ms. Aviles Grande, and then I'll go back to you, Mr. Santos. Ms. Aviles?
Well, yes, and also thank Jaden Daniels for having made us big television stars on Netflix Quarterback on season 3, episode 1. And the focus was on San Bernardino, and it was exciting to, my daughter was really, it's like, oh my God, Mom. It was fun to see. It was a beautiful day that day, quite a memory. And that whole show was very worthwhile watching. Anyway, so I just couldn't end without mentioning that it's been about 10 months now. I joined the cohort for the Chamber of Commerce program, and I'd like to give a little write-up next time we come back. And it's just so much to tell you in just a few minutes. I'd rather just give you a sheet. But then I realized that, our chief is also a graduate. He's an alumni now. So we had a nice ceremony at the Arrowhead Country Club, and they gave a big plaque and the whole 9 yards. It was amazing. And so she's already looking for people that would join next year in the community and board members. And I would recommend it. Our superintendent always talks about, so goes the school district, so goes the city. And really and truly, you have to see what it's just so much to explain. Our citizens really need to know this, and it really begs a television camera to follow us on these journeys. And we could do a Netflix series of our own just with our city. Go ahead and laugh. I'm going to bring it forth. So we have to have vision, right? Okay. So that's it. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Santos.
Yeah, so these, I just want to ditto Miss Alexander's comments about the superintendent's graduation yesterday. It was a wonderful event. And then the extravaganza, I attended as a parent, walked around. I must say, last year I attended, I had a suit on, and I was told, I was a rookie. However, Dr. Wyatt showed up with a suit this year, and I showed up with shorts. So, but the extravaganza was great. Our staff, even walking around, the backpacks, the materials, everything we had for our students, and the excitement that you did see in our students. And a shout out to the San Bernardino Valley College president, because he was out there. He was our host, but he was also walking around. And so a great shout out to him and his institution for being a great host. But I just thought it was a great event for our parents and our students. Oh, yes, and we've been invited to, they're going to be hosting the Cajon Aquinas football game this year at San Bernardino Valley College, we learned.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Santos. And I'll just I don't have much, but I did want to Karen, if we can be intentional about the policy update that we just made, can we send a memo or a letter to our partners that we are already sponsored, that are on our list of sponsorships, and just really give them the opportunity to know that the policy has changed and what it has changed to, just so that they know in advance, and maybe they can keep that into consideration as they're planning their events, so that we don't, end up in the situation that Mr. Tillman was raising. Give them the opportunity to be informed. And
can I also ask a question regarding that?
Sure.
Are we doing the 12 months from the date that the board approves it, or the date of the event?
That's a great question. And my first response inclination would be from the date that the policy got approved, just for fairness. But I don't know. Mrs. Alexander, I see your light on.
The question, I believe, is in reference to the date in which we approved versus their event. And so we have a requirement that they have to submit their sponsorship requests. I think it's 90 days prior to their event. So in all fairness, should it be based on their event, the date of their event, versus when they submit the request?
Oh, that's your question. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Well, I actually wanted to know the date that the board approves it, or the date of the event, not when they send in their request.
Oh,
so
I
it'd be
see.
when you vote on it, or when the event is.
Right, but back to my point, if their event is January 15th and we received their request and we approved it, even before that, we're still not within that year. It should be a year from their event, based on their event.
So, if nobody else has any thing to chime, I don't see a problem with doing it from the day of the event. Yeah. Mr. Tillman?
I guess we always have an issue with when they actually get the money. So, I mean, to me, if somebody's asking for money, what counts is when you get the money, not when you vote on it, not the date of the event, because in some cases you might not get the money until after the event. So it goes back to the same thing I said earlier. But anyway, I'm just telling you, the key is the money. You don't know when you're gonna get the money. I know that for a fact because I get calls from people that say, you guys approved it, but where's the check?
Oh, so this is what we'll do. Did you turn back your light on?
I think you just need to have a baseline, and the check, getting their check is not a baseline.
So what I'll do is I'll take it back. I'll talk to Mr. Komnick, and if it needs to come back back on the agenda to solidify, then I'll do that. But we'll connect, and you'll get that direction. Okay, 15.0 summary of board members' requests. 15.1 review requests.
Good evening, board. I have a few requests this evening. The first is from Mr. Tillman, and he requested information on the income requirements and the waiting list for the Child Development Program. And Mr. Tillman also asked that the program be widely advertised to students and community. Ms. Ceballos requested a breakdown of where the children who are currently enrolled in the Child Development Program are coming from, whether it's community, staff outside the area, or staff in the area. Mr. Tillman and Ms. Rosales Medina requested a list of the projects that the remaining $40 million prior bond is designated. Ms. Rosales Medina requested consensus to agendize a discussion on actively monitoring neighboring agencies for projects so the board can oppose or support. And that is all I have.
Thank you. 16.0 meeting adjournment. Moved by Mrs. Rosales Medina and second by Mrs. Alexander. Have a good night, everybody.